Hey guys, it's me, Daryl. I'm a business coach who works with high performers on all things business, life, and leadership. If this is your first time watching, welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. So I'm excited to begin unpacking this trip, unpacking some of the things that I learned, saw, and experienced while over in England. And I thought, why not start from the beginning? Last video, I talked about the support and how I got there. Today, I want to share with you how this all began once I stepped foot into this immersion experience. And I'm calling this showing up empty because I learned something while I was there. I learned and saw what it was to show up empty. Now, what I mean by that is, as somebody, as a coach who facilitates and who leads and who moderates and who, creates different experience for different individuals and different groups of people, I'm often left to come up with an agenda, come up with a flow, come up with a talk. And when I do this, if most of you who have brought me in to facilitate a day-long event or a board retreat or something like that, you know that I come and I am prepared, right? I bring an agenda and I bring the activities and I bring the things we're going to share. And I bring such a structure to the table that there's not much left to the imagination. You can kind of look down the list and kind of see how the day is going to flow. I not only don't show up empty, I often show up overstuffed. What you may not know is that usually there's several things I had planned that we never get to because things take longer than I planned, and I just put so much stuff into what I'm doing. Do you guys do that? When you plan agendas, are there things you don't get to? Or do you feel forced to cut off a productive conversation or shift gears or move things along? Do you feel that tension that builds up when you feel like you're getting a little too off schedule? I think that comes from showing up overstuffed, showing up too full. As I sat there in England and it's day one, I'm sitting in my chair, I've got my notebook, I've got my pen, I'm ready to begin. And I'm sure that after spending all of this money, after spending all of this time, after making this huge commitment to spend 10 days in Europe, that my coach, Ankush, has planned just an incredible set of activities and explorations and deep dives into these various things. I know he's got it. I'm ready for this journey to lift off. And as we begin day one, he simply asks us to reflect on what we want to get out of this experience. Makes sense. It's probably how I would have started too. After a good 10 or 15 minutes of reflection, he asks, what do you guys got? And there was a gentleman in the back who raised his hand. And he said, I want to learn to speak my full truth. And I love this. Those of you that know me well know that I love diving into the deep end, and this felt like that. And I was ready to share what I came up with, and I was ready to hear what everybody came up with, knowing that we were going to go around the room and kind of fill up this board of what we want to get out of this retreat, and this would be the first activity. Didn't quite go like that. Instead, Ankush went to the whiteboard. He wrote, speak my full truth. He walked back, slowly sat down in his chair, looked up, said, tell me more. What does that mean? And thus kicked off an entire conversation about speaking our full truth. Now, I thought it felt like we'd only talked for just a moment. But the next thing I know, Kush is asking, so should we break for lunch? And my mind started spinning. What do you mean break for lunch? There's only one thing on the board. We've just gotten started. This couldn't be all that's planned. There's got to be more. What do you mean? We're already off track and off schedule. We were right where we were supposed to be. See, I've never seen a coach or a facilitator or a host or a moderator show up as empty as Ankush showed up. Now, I don't want you to confuse empty from unprepared, because everything Ankush did during the 6 days, 7 days we spent together was intentional, including this. This is the 15th time he's done it. It sells out far in advance. The October immersion's already sold out. The guy knows what he's doing. And he knows that he can show up empty. He knows that he doesn't have to dictate and control every aspect of the time we spend together. He trusts himself at such a depth that by bringing himself fully into that space and into that container he created, he could meet us at all the places we most needed to be met. I've never seen anything like it. And I left there wanting more of that, wanting to push into that, wanting to show up empty and leave space for people like you to share, to engage, to guide, and take the conversation wherever it needs to go. You see, as a facilitator and a coach, I always feel like it's my job. I have to bring so much value, and the only way to do that is to come up with a perfect exercise, or come up with the perfect activity, come up with the perfect reflection, come up with the perfect talk. But Kush didn't do any of that. He showed up empty. And I got to see a man trust himself and what he brings to the table so deeply that magic was created over the next 7 days. So I've been thinking a lot about that. And since I've been back, I have followed through on my commitment to show up a little more empty. Now, I'm not where Kush is. I still prepare, I still plan, right? But what's the right balance? How do I both bring something valuable to the table and leave space so that the conversation can go where it naturally needs to go? How do I let go of my grip enough and trust the experience, the container that's been created, to do what it does? How can I leave space for the geniuses in whatever room I happen to be presenting in to bring their inner wisdom to the table, to bring their contributions to the table in a way that doesn't feel controlled and ushered in wholly by me? That's my challenge. Where does this show up for you? Where does showing up a little more empty in your work, in your life, add value and not take away from it? What would it look like to trust yourself at such a level that you didn't have to spend so much time preparing on the front end, right? Figuring out all the ways for you to control the way something's going to go? And what would be the value for you to show up a little more empty? I want to leave you with that. I would love to hear your comments, right? Get what comes up for you in your reflection. Find out where showing up empty can be valuable for you, where trust in yourself that much more can be valuable for you. One of the things I learned on this trip was how to trust myself at an even deeper level. My clients and the groups that I've spent time with since I've been back can feel and sense the difference. And I think you'll be able to too through these videos. Where can this make an impact in your business and in your life? Thank you guys. Always appreciate you guys rocking with me, and I look forward to seeing you soon.